like to call the April 16th, 2024 MSD of Steuben County Board of Trustees regular meeting. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, first up, we do have patron comments. We ask that patrons speak from the podium. Please state your first and last name. The board will not engage in questions or comments. All comments are to be directed to the board president, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Looks like we have 3 people. Mrs. Appleton, would you like to go first?
Sarah Appleton. I have 2 boys who attend Ryan Park Elementary School, and my husband is a teacher in the district. Here to address the non-renewal of Coach Appleton's 2024-2025 basketball contract. It's hard to put into words how much he's put into this community over the last 10 years and in the last 4 years on the boys' side. A man who's dedicated to putting children first, to showing up when most won't, to teaching kids. You know, I understand wins and losses mean a lot, but the character that we're building in these children mean more. He's showing up every day because he cares about what they do outside of basketball. You know, that's one small part of what he does and why he's doing it. And I think we're missing that as a picture in a whole at MSD. I stood here 2 months ago and talked about communication and the fact that it feels very much like we're forgetting about the people that build this school, the ones that are the cornerstones, the ones that are the base, the teachers, the staff. And the administration and the staff feel so far away from each other right now. And I sat here and listened to a man talk for 45 minutes about his predictions for school enrollment in the next 3 to 5 years. School enrollment's based on, if you ask me, teacher retention and teacher happiness. And we are not looking at those 2 things right now. Coach Appleton continues to put children first in the classroom, on the court, outside. We have people in our home. We have kids that come back and talk to us. We have kids that are succeeding outside of basketball because of what he implements in basketball. He's built a program, a youth program over the last 4 years that rivals any in this area. He goes to Fort Wayne with kids. He coaches 7 days a week, all because he cares about this program. This is a man who's put more time into this basketball program than most would in a lifetime, honestly. I mean, he has dedicated his time. He's put children first. And as a board, I just want, it's a lot. You guys have a lot on your shoulders. You carry a lot. But I want to remind you that children first are always, that's what we're here for. And it feels very much as a community, we're seeing teachers leave. Not education, they're just leaving our school. We have to keep them here. We have to keep the good teachers that are here for the right reasons in this district. That's how you get kids to come here. You create a culture and an energy that people want to be a part of. And I'm asking that we start looking at it that way. Collaboration between administration and staff. It's just disappointing. I think the community can see what Coach Appleton has brought here. I wish that we all could see that. So, thank you.
I'm Dan Hostetler. I've coached you or taught with you or your kids almost, well, anybody that lives in Angola, I can say that for. I taught here for 38 years. I just completed my 38th basketball season in Angola, along with 26 other coaching seasons at Angola. So I have some awareness of what's going on here and what has been going on here and what's important here. I am here in support of Coach Appleton. For the last 5 years, I've coached with him, and there's no person more devoted to his craft or to his team, to the program, and, is that my clock? Oh, I got a minute, okay, gotcha. So that second's awful slow. I've seen how hard he works, as Sarah's talking about with varsity JV, the kids all through the feeder system. I mean, he coached the JV in a couple ball games. I mean, he does everything, and he does it for the good of the kids. I feel he's really built a solid program, a great feeder system. And while I feel that he deserves to coach those kids that he's really helped bring along, most importantly, I feel that those kids deserve to be coached by him. So, thank you.
And we have Nathan Champ.
Hello, my name is Nathan Champ. I'm standing here to address my concerns regarding a decision made about the basketball coaching position at the high school. I believe that I'm approaching this topic from many different viewpoints. I'm a father of 4 in the district, a coach, a non-union school teacher, and a local business owner. As you can see, I have a vested interest in the future and direction of the school and the athletic programs here at MSD Schools. I tend to look at the big picture and future when making decisions. I'll start with my philosophy of athletics. Athletics is more than just a win-loss record. There are many components when it comes to a sports program. You have a coach, athletes, parents, and community. A coach is no more than 25% of the equation at most. Also, there is more to being a coach than winning games. A coach sets the stage for athletes' lives, for them to take responsibility for themselves, instill a work ethic, work together as a team, teaches discipline, dedication, and respect. I would argue that all these will have a much larger impact on the future of athletes than winning a game ever will. These are the qualities that make a great coach. These are the qualities that Coach Appleton is teaching will stick with these athletes for the rest of their lives and will benefit them for decades to come. I've seen Mr. Appleton not only teach these to children, but model these qualities for them as well. In today's world, especially when many young men do not have upstanding role models to look up to, I believe that Coach Appleton fills the void in many athletes' lives. I do not know Mr. Appleton personally, but I know him through what he has done for the basketball program. I have seen Coach Appleton support the teachers and administration when it comes to academics and behavior in the school. As a teacher, this is what I want all coaches to do. Coach Appleton addresses behavior issues that take place in the classroom. He supports teachers' efforts to hold children accountable for their behavior and grades. This helps instill responsibility and accountability on the children he coaches, as well as setting these children up for future success. Mr. Appleton has started leagues to get young elementary boys involved in basketball. He has started multiple teams that travel to play in the off-season. He coaches these elementary children on his own time to try to create a feeder program for the high school. If you look at the talent that he has recruited to join this program, you'll see that he has a long-term vision for the basketball program at MSD. In 2 to 3 years, the basketball program at MSD will be very strong, and Mr. Appleton is to thank. I've been told by multiple coaches it takes 6 to 8 years to create a successful program. Mr. Appleton has only given a few years and has not been given the opportunity to see these efforts through. He's had the rug pulled out from under him. If another coach is hired, they will most likely be successful due to Coach Appleton's dedication and hard work that he put in building the program for MSD school system. Mr. Appleton has proven himself as a coach. If you look at his record coaching the girls program, you'll see he's done an outstanding job in the past. However, not all teams are the same. As a new coach coming in, you work with the talent you are given. If the talent is not there as a coach, you are limited. This is why you only look at a win-loss record. You're missing what coaching and athletics is really about. Also, Mr. Appleton lives in the district and raises his family here. This is the type of people that we should want to retain as a school. His whole family is involved in the community and with the school. Mr. Appleton is the type of coach that I want coaching, teaching, and being a role model for our youth. I believe that the decision to not renew Mr. Appleton's contract is short-sighted and illogical. I do not believe that this decision will lead to what is best for the community, school, student body, or the basketball program. I'm calling on this board and administration to reverse course, to do what's best for the future, and return Coach Appleton to the court where he belongs. For I fear as the community will not only lose a great coach, but a teacher as well if an opportunity arises in another district. Not only will we be losing a coach and a teacher, but possibly a family that has dedicated themselves to the community and the school. I hope that before this decision leads to regret, you will do the right thing by those elected to serve on the board and steer the school in the direction of your constituents. Last but not least, I would like to thank Coach Appleton and his family for their hard work and dedication.
Okay. Next, we have the approval of minutes. We've all received the minutes from the March 19th regular meeting. Is there any further discussion regarding those minutes? All right. Do we have a motion then?
Move we go ahead and approve the minutes as read.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Boots,
Yes.
Caswell,
Yes.
Maggart,
Yes.
Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour.
Yes.
Next, approval of claims. Any questions, comments regarding the claims? If not, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the claims as presented.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Boots,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Maggart,
Yes.
Mr. Poor,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 7-0. Personnel considerations. Dr. Weinover.
Yeah, Board, in your packet, you do have your personnel considerations for this evening, April 16th. We do have retirements, resignations, non-renewals, appointments, and reassignments. And I ask that you approve these personnel considerations as presented.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve as presented.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yay.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Boots,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart,
Yes.
Mr. Poor,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour.
Yes.
Thank you. We do not have any special reports this evening. On old business, Dr. Manahan, Digital Learning Coach Grant.
Board, it is my pleasure to come to you for the third time asking for permission to apply for and accept the Coach Digital Learning Grant. This opportunity provides someone, in our case, Miss Austin Van, in the opportunity, someone who coaches 50% or more of the time, the opportunity to get up to $5,000 for continuing professional development. So far, she has completed an ISTE certified educator course, done an extreme amount of professional development on universal design for learning, and now hopefully we will be on the cutting edge of generative artificial intelligence through her new grant.
I make a motion, we go ahead and accept the grant as issued.
Second.
And vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Mrs. Boots,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart,
Yes.
Mr. Poor,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour.
Yes.
All right, motion carries 7-0. Now we're on to new business. First item up is Pleasant Lake Elementary.
Yes, Board, as discussed at the last couple of board meetings and kind of our open meetings that we have Pleasant Lake, we do have a decision that you're going to need to proceed with tonight because that's what we had kind of told folks from our Pleasant Lake area and our school community. With that, we do have three options for you to consider this evening. The first one is option number 3. This was that original option that was presented back on March 14th, and this option was to add the ACE Academy to Pleasant Lake and convert it to a K-6 Montessori program. At our last meeting that we had early in March, we did have a patron who presented two additional options, an option 4 and an option 5. So option 4 was to move ACE to the high school, Pleasant Lake to remain a K-5 elementary, and then add K-6 Montessori. So that was option 4. And then the last option, in option 5, move ACE to the middle school, reabsorb 6th grade into each of the 4 elementary schools, add K-6 Montessori to Pleasant Lake, and it also remains a K-6 elementary. So those are your three options tonight for discussion. And at the end, I will need some sort of direction so I know where we can start moving to get ready for next year.
Any discussion items?
I've got a little bit. As I looked at these three proposals, I look at it from the standpoint as I used to be at the alternative school, which is ACE now. But more importantly, I spent 2 decades as assistant principal where I recommended kids to the alternative school. It was not easy. We'd sit and we'd discuss. We'd sit and decide what's best. Back then, if you were a troublemaker, they would not let you in there. I'd fill out the application, they'd say, go get a GED. So I've sat with families, and I know that these families do not want their students in a traditional school. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's middle school or the high school, they do not want that. And I know we listen, elementary school kids, I think if we move them back into a traditional school, you can't get them in the building. We're gonna have dropout rates, we're gonna have kids, graduation rates go down. So as I look at that, that's my concern with moving to a traditional building.
Say kind of the same thing as I looked at option 3 or option 4 and option 5. We're taking those kids out of that school for a reason, out of the middle school, out of the high school for a reason. We don't need to be putting them right back in the same schools that they were trying to get them out of. They weren't comfortable being there. There's a reason why we put them in the ACE program over here. So I think option 4 and 5 are not really feasible in my mind. And then also you look at even option 5 of moving ACE to that middle school and then reabsorbing 6th grade into the elementary schools. You got to remember, we also have programs set aside for middle school students such as PE, music, things like that. So do we now bring teachers in to teach those things? And what do we do with those teachers there? And how do we allocate teachers on those aspects? I still think option 3 is our best choice moving forward.
Shauna, I've got a couple questions. This Montessori program, what are you going to do at Pleasant Lake about outdoor lab?
For the outdoor lab, we're very fortunate where the building is located. I think it's got an incredible facility right there with the backyard. We had an opportunity to take some teachers who have expressed interest in Montessori, and they came back saying that's where the chicken coop needs to go, and that's where the gardens need to go with the space that's there. But we've also had members from the Boy Scout camp reaching out, wanting to extend the partnership that we currently have with Pleasant Lake students going there. And we absolutely want to take advantage of that. There's a tremendous outdoor learning environment right down the road that we fully expect to have students taking advantage of as part of the Montessori program.
The other question that I've got, and I think the Montessori program is a fantastic program. I'm just a little bit concerned about the K through 6. And the reason why I'm concerned about the 6th is the middle school. And I know that having spent 15 years at the middle school as an administrator, that we did an awful lot of things when we brought 5th graders into 6th grade to kind of get them ready for what was going to happen with lockers, with moving from class to class and some things like that. What kind of things are you thinking you're going to do with that 6th grade to get them ready for 7th grade?
Yeah, so I think we would have those 6th grade students who would transition as 7th graders participate in the same types of activities. The middle school has done a great job the last several years of having that camp before school starts, where the incoming students come and they spend a couple of days going through the routines, going through lockers, going through cafeteria, meeting their teachers, understanding what the courses will be like, and fully expect that the 6th graders transitioning would have that same experience. We'd also want to make sure that they're going over during the school year a couple of different times to make sure that they are able to see the building and know what that, will look like and feel like before that transition, since they'll be coming in at a different time. We also expect that we'll be opening up athletics for those 6th grade students to be able to participate at the middle school. So any extracurricular, they would already be able to be bused to and participate in, and hopefully be part of, the friendships there and building teams there, and have some familiarity with the school.
How many students would be in each level, each grade level?
Our hope is to open up registration very soon, once the board makes the decision, so that we can begin gathering those numbers. In our preliminary planning, we're planning for a kindergarten classroom, 2 first through third grade classrooms and 2 4th through 6th grade classrooms. That would put us at about 96 students. I fully anticipate that we'll be able to fill that, and we may need to hire additional staff for the upcoming school year. Again, we'll have to wait and see what families decide there, but we're optimistic. The feedback we've gotten about Montessori coming to the area has been very well received. So hoping for at least 100.
Okay. Now, but there is no changes, physical changes that have to be made to the building then? Because this was originally a K through 12 building.
That is correct.
I echo a lot of your thoughts on just a big reason of why ACE Academy is successful is kids that just aren't doing well in that school from the environment standpoint have a place to go. And we've seen a huge success rate over the last couple of years especially from that. So I think I agree that a lot of it, you take a kid and put them back into a building that they hated being at, didn't like to, even though if you separate them, it's still you're in that same spot. So doing that at the middle school, same thing. You know, I did have some concerns of how you take sixth grade and put them back into an elementary school, and then how does it function with all activities and things. I'm glad that you mentioned my one question. The other question I had here was about extracurriculars for those sixth graders, and sounds like that's already been assessed and looked at. What else? The one thing, there's been a lot of things when you're on the board, we get people that approach us about stuff, not always positive, not always negative, but a lot of people talk to you. And in my time here, this is probably one of the top things I've had, the most positive things of people coming to me and saying, are you guys really doing a Montessori K through 6? They say it's something we could do. And that has been, so I think it would be a very big draw to the community and give another alternative education to people. And we see, especially in the younger generation that are having kids now, that Montessori seems to be that's where a lot of them, I was hearing the comments from, was just, I'm having kids soon, or I have a preschooler, and that's awesome, I want to do that. So, but I understand, both sides of it, of something changes and it doesn't feel good all the time, but change is necessary, so. That's my 2 cents right now. Any other comments or anything?
I also talked about when people came into the dealership or back and forth about the other options. And it wasn't that we just said, no, this wouldn't work. We evaluated, talked to, the Teachers Association and teachers in the sixth grade too, to just even see if it was feasible. And it really is not a practical option. I also want to personally take this time too with Sturry Builders and Al Sherburne and Leroy, taking the time, just feasibility in measuring and helping us grasp different options that we would have with size versus numbers. So, thank you.
I've had some nephews that have gone through the Montessori system in another school location, but it was a very positive experience for them, so I'd be in favor of option 3 to move forward with that.
Go ahead.
If we go with option 3, are we going to get enough students in that building to keep it going?
So based on the feedback that we've been hearing, I think yes. Currently, we have 112 students at the Early Learning Center. I expect that many of those will matriculate and continue on in Montessori because with their time there, they've seen the benefit of that. We'll be providing transportation from anywhere in the district to be able to make that option available. I think we also have students who have moved on from the ELC and are sitting in traditional classrooms now who would choose to come back. Through the course of our exploration and conversations, we've also learned that Oak Farm is the closest Montessori school to us, and their waiting list is larger than their enrollment. So I'm confident that there are families out there who would opt for this free Montessori opportunity. Obviously, getting the word out and giving people time to process that and see it get stood up and have confidence in the quality of that, may take a year or two. But I think we've got a really good track record with what we've done with the Early Learning Center. And I fully expect we can replicate that and be in very good standing by the start of the year and with really solid enrollment.
As far as enrollment itself, like prioritizing or how will that be? How would you anticipate that being done if it moved forward?
So my optimistic self says anyone who is able to let us know by X date, we will try to staff to accommodate all of those requests. If we are over capacity, we do have a process that we would be able to identify students. So our priority would be students with prior Montessori experience would be kind of group one. Students who live in Steuben Township in the Pleasant Lake attendance area. So we've actually plugged into Power School. This is the original Pleasant Lake attendance zone. So as students, families opt for that, we can identify those are the students, yes, absolutely, who would be in that priority group. Then we would open up to other families on a first come, first serve or lottery basis.
Any other discussion? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we bring up our vote on option number 3 and move forward.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yay.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Next, ECA expired warrants. Dr. Penrod.
Our ECA ECA expired warrants. We talked about this a couple of months ago. We just want to make kind of one last effort to make sure that we couldn't find those people that we still had those checks. They are, just like our corporation checks, are allowed to be deemed expired at the end of December 31st after 2 years of issuance. And so we're at that point now with the ECAs. We did this already with the corporation. The ECAs are a little bit different process because they're more of a building level type of check, so a little bit less money as well. But we did want to make every effort we could to make sure that we track down whoever hasn't cashed that check yet. Mrs. Newman's done that, and at this point, we feel like we've exhausted all of our possibilities as far as finding those people. So we recommend that we do ask that you cancel those expired warrants.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second that.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
All right, thank you, everyone. Permission to declare textbooks obsolete.
Dealing with public property, there's a way to properly dispose of that. And so there are some thresholds involved. So like, obviously if you're going to throw away a paper clip, you don't have to come to the board for that. But certain things, when you get past the $1 threshold, we do have to ask the board for permission because we're dealing with taxpayer dollars. And so the books we're asking to declare obsolete are kind of borderline on that threshold. So just to be safe, we thought we'd come to the board. The process would be that we're going to ask you to declare those books obsolete. Some of those, from what I understand, have dust on them. It's been a while since they've been checked out. And then a company will take those and resell them and give us a certain percentage or a certain cut of that, of their resale. And so we're kind of hiring that company to dispose of these for us without just throwing them in the trash. There's a chance we get some money back for it. So again, nothing huge, but we think we're right on the borderline of maybe being under that threshold or right above it. So just to be safe, we'll ask you to declare those books obsolete.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I've got one question. Any benefit to opening these books up to the students to take home or anything like that, or is that not an option?
Because of the tax money that purchased them, it's not, I wouldn't say it's never, ever an option, but because we're at that threshold or right at that threshold, I wouldn't probably recommend it at this point.
Motion we approve of disposal.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archbold?
Yay.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Next up, we have to apply and accept the DECO grant. Dr. Relu.
Board, with your permission of option 3 this evening, we will plan to get moving in ordering materials and getting teachers trained, and we'll be seeking funding to support that. I've had a meeting with the DECO Foundation to talk about kind of their priorities for grant funding, and feel confident that supporting Montessori through materials would be something they would be very supportive of. So I'm asking your permission to apply for a $100,000 grant to pay for materials, and if awarded that, to accept it.
Do we have a motion to apply?
I make a
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archbold?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
yes.
All right, thank you. The Maisie Consultancy Services for Title I conversion. Dr. Relu.
Board, as we've been watching our free and reduced lunch numbers over the last couple of years and evaluating our programming, I'd like to make a change to our Title I services, and I'd like to bring a consultant in to help lead us through that. Maisie Education is led by the former Title I director for the state, so certainly has expertise there. I'd like to add Ryan Park as a Title I building. Their free and reduced lunch population is just behind Pleasant Lake at this point. So I'd like to have all 4 schools become Title I served schools and also make them school-wide schools. At the present moment, our Title I services are set up to be targeted assisted, which means we use assessments and rank students and can only serve students in the bottom 20% based on that data, and can only include families in our parent nights who are the parents of those children. Moving to school-wide allows our interventionists to be much more flexible in meeting the needs of students, allows them to be able to move students in and out based on data more flexibly, and be able to open up the Title I resources, especially the family nights, the parent activities, to everyone in each of those schools. So I'd like to have Maisie Education come in and help us revise our plan so that we are in line with being approved by the Department of Education for the transition to school-wide services and adding Ryan Park.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we have Maisie Consulting Services come in and do that.
I'll second.
All right, and the vote, please.
Mr. Archbold?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
We'll keep you right there and go with Title I survey.
So, Board, to help inform those school-wide plans, we are required to survey parents, staff, and students about the services they are receiving and about just general aspects of school in terms of academics, safety, sense of belonging. So I'm asking your permission to be able to administer a survey. That survey is included in your packet. We have on the very first page of the questions there, we have made the decision to remove the drug and alcohol use questions from the survey. The student survey will go to students in grades 3 through 5, and we just didn't feel that that was something we wanted to put out for students to be contemplating and asking questions about. The remainder of the questions that are included there are those that would go to both teachers, parents, and students.
Do we have a motion?
I hate to ask another question. Didn't we just survey a couple months ago the parents about something else? I thought we approved a survey here.
There's a transportation one that we're working on and getting that ready to go. We've had a number of surveys go out. Mrs. Manahan's going to ask for one for technology and digital. We have to do one for our school-wide for our Title I. So instead of giving 3 surveys to everybody, we're trying to space them out a little bit so we have parents have time. They can kind of go through it. So we're just prioritizing what we need to get to. So we have a digital one that needs to get out for technology. And part of these are the requirements for some of the grants that we've taken because we need to collect that information. But you are correct.
Do we have a motion?
I'll go ahead and make that motion then, that we approve. We approve the Title I survey.
I second.
Mr. Archbold?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Aye.
Ridenhour?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next up, elementary, middle, and high school handbooks. Mr. Wagner.
Okay, tonight I ask that you approve the elementary, middle school, and high school handbooks. I know last year, each one of the buildings put a lot of work into updating their handbooks. So this year, it's really driven by some new legislation, and I'll go over that and ask you for your vote. So the first update will be the new cell phone policy. Basically, Indiana Code now bans from the classroom any portable wireless device that includes phones, wireless earbuds, tablets, laptops, and gaming systems, as well as any other device that can provide communication between 2 parties. If students bring a device to school, the device must be kept in their backpack or lockers. However, students can use their devices if a teacher allows it for educational purposes during instruction time. If a student needs it to manage their health care, for example, monitoring their blood sugar in the event of an emergency, and then if the use of the device is included in their individualized education program, IEP, or individualized learning plan, ILP, or 504 plan. So those would be the exceptions to that rule or to that law. The second update is for excessive absenteeism. And again, our buildings really do all of the things that the state is now telling us that we have to do. It's putting a little bit more teeth into it. So for, again, Indiana Code, starting July 1st, 2024, in accordance with our unexcused absence attendance policy, students in grades K through 6 who are absent 5 unexcused days within a 10-week period will be subject to this policy. So our buildings will, written notification will be sent home to the parent guardian of the student who has missed 5 days. The school will schedule an attendance conference with the parent within 5 school days of the written notification. Students that have been defined as habitual truant, which is 10 unexcused absences, will be referred to the prosecuting attorney per Indiana Code. So again, a lot of these things we're already doing. I've already reached out to our local prosecutors to set up a meeting to talk to them about how it's going to look on their end as well. So after they get some more information, we will have that meeting and inform our buildings.
That's it. Any questions or comments regarding the handbooks?
Cell phone takes effect next year, is that what you're saying?
And I know the building put a lot of work into revamping that for this year, so they'll have to change it a little bit again.
I'd say good luck to all the staff at the high school on that one. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the handbook changes.
I'll second that.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archbold?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Ridenhour?
Yes.
Thank you. Lastly, on new business, we have Dr. Manahan with the Speak Up Parent Survey.
Board, in your packet, there is a brief history of the Speak Up survey. When I first took over this role, Participation, at least attempted participation in the Speak Up survey was a requirement to be eligible for any of the Department of Education grants. So we have put this survey out to our stakeholders before. It's been a few years. Now, Michelle Green, who some of you who worked in the schools may recognize, used to work at our Department of Education, leads the Speak Up survey project for Project Tomorrow. And she is rallying the troops for this 21st year of the survey. It started out as just a student survey. It was the first time that policymakers and educators formally asked students across the country what they thought about digital learning and the impact of technology in education. It's expanded to educators and families and school leaders as well. And if you'll remember in the fall, you approved us applying for and accepting a family engagement grant from the Department of Education. So this is a free way for us to get metrics to compare ourselves at the state level and the national level for our trends in digital learning and family engagement with our technology initiatives. So with your approval, I'd like to send these voluntary surveys out to stakeholders. They do have to be in before May 31st to be eligible for this year's data collection.
Any questions? Do we have a motion then?
Well, I made the motion on the first survey, so I'll make another motion on the second survey. I make a motion that we go ahead and participate in the Speak Up Parent Survey.
Second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boots?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Motion carries. Future meetings, all meetings are conducted here in the McCutcheon Administration Center boardroom at 6:30 or 6. I need to change that, yeah. One of these days I'm going to get it right. 6 o'clock here in this room, May 21st, June 18th, and July 16th, all regular meetings. Superintendent's report.
Yeah, Board, some exciting things to talk about. Earlier this week, I had an opportunity to attend some athletic events. We had middle school track going on, softball, and tennis. And the opening part of our brand-new facility is our tennis pavilion. It was a packed night. It was about 70 degrees out, and parents were out in force, which was outstanding. To be able to see them up into tennis pavilions or using our new restroom facilities that we have out there, received lots of good comments on those kinds of things. So to have those facilities open, spring sports are here, so it's really kind of exciting seeing everybody kind of out and about. So the big one, which is that multi-purpose locker room, is on schedule, should be done by July 1, so we're excited about that, and we're on the tail end of a lot of our construction projects. The second thing I want to do is give a huge shout out to the county health department and the county emergency services. They graciously donated 2 portable AED defibrillators to us this past week. Those will be used on outside activities and events. We have trainers at most of our events when we're at home on our property, but to be able to have a few extra of those AEDs, it never hurts. So we are very fortunate to have those and always continuing to look to have a few more. And then lastly, just to bring your attention, on April 19th is the United Day of Caring. Our 12th graders will be hitting the community again. That is probably one of the events that I get the most, oh, that is fantastic. Thank you for letting them out of the building. The kids are excited to get out, and it's led by Leslie Lance, who does a phenomenal job of making sure that those seniors get out in the community, that they behave themselves, and ultimately come back to the building, so we know where they're at. But it's just a great way for our kids to get out and do some great things and really support our community. So just lots of things going on as we wrap up and we're right around the corner from graduation. So the school year is rapidly coming to a close.
Thank you. Lastly here, we have board member communication. I would like to thank Dr. Raylu and Dr. Wiedenhofer on the amount of time and effort you spent researching all these different options we had for the Pleasant Lake School. It was not taken lightly by anyone at this table, and I really appreciate all the feedback that the community that reached out to all of us both positive, some not real happy. It just, we heard everything, and it took a lot to come up with a decision. And, I mean, my biggest personal fear, because I only speak for myself, was have to close a building and did not want to have to do that. And so I think this, I'm very happy to see what's happening here and what direction we're going with it.
I too, when it comes to the Pleasant Lake, as I said, we are a board for all the schools. We have to look at what's best for everybody. I know we're not going to make everybody happy, but I think it's best all the way around. I think the Montessori will add greatly to our student body and stuff. And I know the ACE kids, they're great kids. They just need, and we need the space for them. So, and maybe we'll outgrow that and have to go something else or do something else. But we really need to think of every MSD student, not just one. So I think it'll be a plus for us. I hope and pray it is.
If there's nothing further before the board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Emotionally adjourn?
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mrs. Boots?
Yes.
Caswell?
Yes.
Mrs. Maggart?
Yes.
Hi.
Mr. Ridenhour?
All right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.